playing with this old machine for the last couple of weeks, and well, it's been fun, but it has its flaws. And I'll show you what I did to improve on those flaws. As you can see, I removed the old gauge oilers, which were annoying to use because, well, first of all, I left them open all the time, and then it was hard to get the oil through there. It was just sticking on top, and sometimes it was even like bubbling. So I replaced them with a small bronze cap, and I can just take those off and squirt some oil down the hole. And it's easier. You can just open up and look at it and see if there's enough oil in there. Alright, now on to the bigger problem. There's a serious issue with this spindle. Well, at least I think there is. The front bearing gets clamped down over here, so you preload it with this ring here, and then the rear bearing gets preloaded by backing off this ring, and that's it. So when you back this ring off too much, it will push the whole spindle assembly forward, including the outer ring of the bronze bearing. Now this ring is supposed to prevent that, but there's too much room in here. It's just like 9 millimeters. Well, this is 7. Not only does the whole spindle move forward when you tighten up this ring too much, it also moves forward when you hit a drawbar to punch out a taper. So every time I hit the drawbar, it moves the whole spindle assembly forward, including the outer bronze bearing. The rear bronze bearing stays in place because there's nothing riding up against the rear of the bearing. So to fix this problem, I'm gonna cut about 2 millimeters off the back of this ring. I measured against the front of the workpiece, and I got about 6/100 of a millimeter run out. So that's good enough for me. Here's another little change I made. This washer down here, it's supposed to help distribute the load of this clamp over more of the surface, because when you clamp down a tool bit, it warps the top of the slide, and it tightens up the dovetails to a point where it gets very hard to move. So you gotta take care how much you tighten this bolt. I don't think it makes much of a difference. Alright, let's take a cut. The tripod is in my way, so I gotta move the camera. I think I need to take off a little bit more. That should do it. That's good enough for me. I screwed it back in place, but it looks like I've taken off a bit too much, which isn't a big problem. I wanted this thing to clamp down on the bronze bearing to keep it in place. But after I screwed it down, the spindle well, it isn't running smooth anymore, and it stays the same after I take off the ring. Well, let me loosen up the ring. These are tiny screws with annoyingly narrow slots. I had to regrind my screwdriver. Alright, so it's loose. And it's still binding. Now give it a tap on the back with the hammer. And it's loose again. So somehow this pressure on the front bronze bearing is binding up the spindle, which annoys me a lot. I decided that I'm going to take a little bit out of the inside that rides against the edge. Hopefully that will solve the problem. It gives me a chance to use the outside jaws. They do look kind of terrible. They well, I don't know what they've done with these, but the metal worm sure did a number on these outside jaws. Well, better to have any outside jaws than no outside jaws. That should be enough. Okay, so that improved the fit, but the problem didn't go away. Well, not completely. Apparently this ring is pushing back the bearing a little. I already pushed it back, but it looks like it's going even further. So I have had to readjust the front bearing. But now I have a new problem. If I, after adjusting this ring, which does the preload, and I get it to my liking, there's this set screw to keep the ring in place. Now when I clamp this down, the spindle is binding. So that's a new problem, but not for today. I probably will need to do some scraping to the front bearing in order to get this fixed. I don't know. There's one more change I made, and that has to do with these clamps that hold down the slide and the tailstock. They go underneath here. So whenever you move things around, you loosen it, these things have a tendency to turn, and if you don't notice that, they are going to go up between the ways, which is pretty annoying. So I got a piece of steel and bolted it down there so it won't turn anymore. It's probably going to save some time in the long run, and it's definitely going to be less annoying. So those are the changes I made so far. And one more thing. Well, it had to happen at some point, but I broke my first center drill. It broke while I was drilling some stainless steel, and it turned out, as you can see from this picture, that the tailstock is a bit too low. I don't know what's causing this, so that's something I will need to figure out at some point. Well, that's it for me. I'm gonna go inside because it's getting cold here and my nose is starting to get runny.